Yeah, I may look like a preacher, more like a preacher. Yes, thank you, Sophie. I didn't know that you were really interested in these small details. I didn't know that they were all that important that you would come all the way to watch Mungu wetu ni wajabu. Yes, friends, I feel so much delighted as we give thanks to Bishop Pete, who graciously invited us to this your wonderful diocese. It's a journey that we started immediately after our consecration. He is senior to me, and I'm really following him. I don't know whether I'll catch up with him. And today we are here to attend your synod. Before I say anything, I want just to say that I've learned a lot from the way you conduct your synod. Even when we attended the General Synod, it's called General Synod, I learned a lot. Seeing people other than the bishop chairing synod, to me is something which is strange, but it's very encouraging. And it's a recognition that every other person, any member of the synod has an obligation to chair or to lead the synod during some of its sessions. When we started this partnership negotiations or fellowship, we were hopeful that it will bear fruit. We didn't know that we would land here this time of the year, but God in his own way has walked with us. There was a COVID issue that came up, and it derailed some of our earlier plans before, but it did not derail our desire to remain focused on the aspects of partnership, and how we could all work together as we preach the gospel. I've been asked to state our aspirations for this partnership. I was taught somewhere that if you want to be clear, you have to obey only 3 rules. 1, have something to say. 2nd rule, say it. And the 3rd and the most important, now stop. So rule number 1, I have something to say. That we pray that this partnership continue to grow from strength to strength, with us exchanging visits, and sometimes some of your clergy, Bishop Pete, may be interested in coming on vocation in Kenya, and we may wish to assign you a duty, to assign them a duty, even for some 3 months, some 1 month, whatever, so that they also experience the African hospitality and how we worship and learn from one another. That exchange program, I think, would be one of the most important aspects of partnership that we may cherish. Another thing is just supporting one another to walk so that we all stand. God has gifted us differently. There are certain aspects of strength that you are the one who is its custodian. And there are certain strengths we are the ones who are its custodian. How do we balance all these things for the good of the church? Not only the church in Kenya, but also the church here in the Diocese of Sheffield. So my main focus in that area is how best can we support one another, holding each other's hand in times of great need. Our diocese, we have certain projects which are in front of us, which require a lot of support from one another. One, Bishop Sophie has told you and has shown you a photo of our cathedral. The cathedral is too small for us today. As we grow, we realize that we are leaving out so many people outside the worshiping space because of the limited spaces we have for worship. The current cathedral that we have was not actually designed to be a cathedral. It was a makeshift place that was constructed when the current place where we are putting up a plaza, that's where the church was. So it had to be demolished to give way for the plaza. So the Christians moved to a new site, and then they made a makeshift kind of a structure. It was just corrugated iron sheet all through, but it was later changed into brick and mortar. So we are in the process of constructing a new cathedral, and come September 3rd, we'll be having a major fundraiser where we expect to raise money to start the foundation. We are giving it about 3 to 4 years for it to be completed. With a simple structure, but it can hold 2,000 people in one sitting. Currently, our population at the cathedral is more than 1,000. But the cathedral cannot take, can only take 500 people. So some people are sitting outside. That is the limitation we have. So growth has its challenges that we have to adhere, but it's a good growth. It's a good challenge. We may need support from you as we move on in that area. Another challenge we are facing is with the cases of abuse. We have destitute children we are looking after. We have those people who have suffered abuse in the hands of their own relatives. They have nowhere to run to. It is the Mothers' Union that actually has been responding to some of these needs. So we have been parents to so many people, supporting them in schools. Sometimes these people we support, they wonder where to go when they go back home. They are widows who are being abused because of cultural issues. Like the community where we come from, if you are a widow, the cultural demand is that you be inherited by the immediate relatives of your husband. It's a very backward kind of culture, but we are responding to some of those needs, those who are being subjected to such cultural humiliation. So the need we have in that respect is to have a rescue center where all these people who are victims of abuse, they can find a home as a church, giving them sanctuary. We have preached the gospel enough. Now it's time to translate that gospel into something that can promote the welfare state of the people who listen to us. So that's one area that we need. Then the last thing which I want to talk about is our mission outreach. We have a mission outreach program whereby we extend the gospel to the islands of Lake Victoria. There's a big island in Lake Victoria that used to be a prison center for those who are involved in political, I don't know whether to say political crimes during the colonial time. That's where they were taken. And because they could not come out, so they were taken there. And so today, most local people are using it for fishing. And we are reaching them with the gospel. And so far we have established 2 congregations on some of those islands. And because these people are like nomads, they find it difficult. They cannot support that ministry. So it's the diocese that is actually financing those outreach activities. And as it is now, we have a full-time minister in charge of those islands. But reaching to the islands is a challenge again because of the water, the waves. That's the current, that's where the current is going to Uganda. So sometimes I have to be stopped whenever I want to go and carry out some ecclesiastical functions there because of bad weather. We are using motorboat, and some of these motorboats, they cannot manage the current at certain times. So on 2 occasions, I'd been turned back to go not to use the motorboats because it's risky. So we thought of if we could have a bigger and well-built motorboat which is shielded, which is covered, because these are open, just open motorboat. You come and water gets in. And our idea is that such a motorboat would also act as source of income that would eventually support that ministry. Because during weekdays, it can be used as passenger service boat. And it will help even the people, the community in the island and the mainland to commute. And it will bring back more income that will support the ministry. So those are some of the areas that we are praying for. So our aspiration, as I was asked, is simply for you to work with us as we focus on some of these areas of intervention. I think she did not give me the time to take, but I think I've taken more than what you are expecting.